sudden decision to cut the police department?
Yeah, good question. We've been going through our budget since October, and we, just to let you know, everybody knows about this, but we did have to let our police chief go in November, but we did have to go through our budget, and we just said it was fiscally a better decision to move ahead with our sheriff here as the partner, and they've been with us for decades, actually. They've been covering for the last 4 years our graveyard shift, and it was purely fiscal.
Why is the police chief? Why was the police chief?
Hang on for a second. Can she finish?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to follow up on your answer there.
Oh.
You said let go of your police chief. As far as we knew, he was only on
Administrative leave, that's what I meant to say, yeah.
Why is he on administrative leave?
We've had some concerns, and I can't say any more about that, but just wanted to let you know that he was let go. Everybody should know that there's something there, but we can't talk any more about that.
Concerns about the performance or about how he's managing the department?
A little bit of both, possibly, but that's all I can say.
Just hand in hand with that, does this at all connect to the decision to disband that department?
I mean, the decision as a board was made purely fiscally for this, but there are some implications or something that could be tied to it, but it was primarily just a fiscal decision.
Do you think that people in Morrison are going to be less safe since Jefferson County isn't there in town on Bear Creek Drive?
Sure, go ahead.
I mean, you can't
I'll
get
go-
there, but
yeah.
does that make Morrison less safe if
I'll-
there's, say, an assault or someone pulls a gun and seconds matter?
I'll go ahead and answer that. No. The safety of our citizens throughout Jefferson County is not going to be in jeopardy at all. Morrison citizens are still Jefferson County citizens. They always have been, always will be. Bottom line is, when it comes to the city of Morrison, we have precincts that are right up Highway 74, our mountain precinct, and then we have our south precinct. Reality is, our deputies can get there rather quickly.
How quick? 2 minutes, 1 minute?
I'm not going to say. It all depends on the day. It all depends on the crime rate or the calls that are going on that day. There is no way to ever say how long it's going to take us to get on scene.
Can you talk a little bit about the deputies that you have covering the current shift and how much they see during those shifts?
We looked into, when Morrison got a hold of us and we started talking and negotiating, we obviously looked into the call rate. Right now, there's an average of 1.5 calls every 24 hours in the town of Morrison. That is not that much of an increase on the sheriff's office and what we already do.
Will you be hiring more deputies to cover that area?
We would love to hire more deputies. We are always hiring. We are trying to get our numbers up to our staffing levels that we have on paper. And so that's our goal. In 2025, we will be doing a huge push in recruiting, retention, and training. And so that's always a goal of ours. So yes, we're hoping that some of the officers from Morrison will apply because they know the area already. So we are welcoming to that. But we are always hiring, and we will continue to do so.
How many deputies do you have on staff right now?
Right now, with attrition, it changes almost weekly. We have well over 500 at this point in time. If we can get our staffing numbers up between sworn and civilian, we should be about at 811 members of Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, sworn and non-sworn combined.
Confirm, none of the police officers from Morrison automatically have jobs in Jefferson County, is that correct?
Correct. We're welcoming them all to apply.
Will money change hands? Is there a contract? Will be paying Jefferson County for patrol?
Yes.
Yes, we do have a contract in place. The amount is $476,000, I believe, per year, and we feel that's more than 50% savings over our current budget.
Mayor, what was the most serious call you had this year?
I'm trying to think here. I think we did have one suicide shooting at one of the locations in Morrison.
Suicide, are you saying?
I'm sorry, what?
Murder, suicide? was
No,
it, or
just a suicide.
So someone.
And
took
someone
their
did
life
die,
with a gun.
yes.
Okay. What about assaults and things like that?
Very few. I don't know of hardly any.
What is the primary call when Morrison sees? Is there a primary kind of call for service? Is it mainly
Maybe an accident or something, but there's very little crime. We have a speeding problem. Maybe you've heard of that. But very little crime.
Did the budget issues have anything to do with the, you had the camera that was put up and it didn't generate as much revenue as anticipated? Did that impact the budget issues and the?
It definitely did. Everybody thinks we were just raking it in, but come to find out, after we took care of all the receivables or not receivables and handling the all the time with the staff, taking care of all this, and the billing, it turned out to be really, we didn't make that much money.
You also mentioned that it was purely fiscal, getting rid of the chief, kind of leading to this, or not getting rid of the chief, but cutting the police department. But it was pretty sudden, the way it was announced. If this was all based on budget issues, wouldn't that have been something we could have seen coming and, we would have had more notice to the police department and the officers who are involved?
That's a good question, but we've had these discussions since October. We've been talking about them for a long time, and maybe some of the discussions happened not all publicly, but we've talked about it, and it made the best decision as a team board.
Sheriff Marinelli, this seems to be a trend. We just saw Central City disband its police department, Netherlands disbanded theirs. Not Central City, I'm sorry. Georgetown, thank you. Sure. And Central City was, I think, 5 years ago or so. So it seems like it's happening more and more in rural areas. Can you speak to that at all? Why?
Well, and
why
I'm not going to say Georgetown is disbanding. Georgetown is asking the sheriff's office up there for assistance. I don't think they've made that decision to disband at this point in time. There are many cities throughout the Front Range that have disbanded, whether it be cities or towns, and the sheriff's offices have taken over. This is nothing new. We go back, literally, I've been here 38 years. We have gone off and on with assisting Morrison, whether it be what we have currently and have been contracted for 4 years, where we take their graveyard shift. So there have been times where they haven't had enough officers where we've taken all weekend. There's been contracts where we start patrolling Morrison at 5 p.m. on Friday and stop at 8 a.m. on Monday. Those contracts have gone at very, very different times throughout the decades, depending on the call loads and depending on their ability to hire officers. Right now, law enforcement is having a very difficult time hiring anybody. Whether it be a large agency like ours or the small ones. There's just not enough people in society that are interested in becoming law enforcement officers. So we are all having that issue. But the thing that I don't think a lot of people realize in law enforcement is that we collaborate with each other daily. We work together, whether it be us in State Patrol, whether it be us in Morrison, whether it be Arvada, Lakewood, Wheat Ridge. We work with them constantly. We have meetings constantly. So the collaboration has always been there. It may not be seen as much from the citizens or from you guys, but it's always there. And so it's not that difficult for us to step in and assist.
Mayor Wolf, I had a question. This happened some weeks ago, the announcement, and we're just now hearing from you weeks later. Why is that?
That's a good question. I don't know. I work full-time. I'm a part-time mayor. I'm busy, holidays, all these things. But I'm just glad that the county put this together so that we can all hear all at once. But I'm busy. Everybody else is busy. I don't know, just no other real reason other than, we put this together and now's the best time to do it.
Can you talk about how big the department is?
She had a question next, I believe. Or go ahead.
I just wanted to see how big the Morrison Police Department is. We've seen maybe 4 part-time, 4 full-time? I've just seen different numbers, and so I'm wondering how many officers are being kind of let go, administration, total. How big is this department?
Well, we've had, I believe, 9 full-time and approximately, and it's changed, but several part-time, and it would be, you know, it hurts us to let these people go. It's not a fun decision to make, and especially right now at the holidays, but it is something that we decided as a board to do, and we hope they all land somewhere where they're needed and can fill the shoes and get help.
But you don't know the total number of job or positions lost?
I don't know the exact total,
Okay.
but good estimate.
Can you explain the revenue, I'm sorry.
Sorry. The department's previous chief did resign after only 3 months, and there was a reasoning of a lack of resources and officer vacancies. Are those also issues, though, that have been experienced within the department, even though this is being disbanded purely for financial reasons? Correspond at all?
The one that disbanded a while back was before my time, but is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the previous chief who resigned after 3 months.
Yeah, that was before my time. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough job. I don't know if I would want to have to do it, but it's a, you know, I don't really understand all the reasoning why. And that was before my time also, just as a citizen. You know, I've just heard rumors. I don't know anything factual.
And then is there a timeline of the transfer?
Officially January 1st. There could be covering interim if something else were to change, but right now it's January 1st.
What's the average salary, or what's the salary range of your 9 officers per annual?
I believe it's around 57 to 60 some odd $1,000.
Back to the budget, can you, in general terms, explain how the revenue travels from the radar station through Morrison to wherever else it needs to go back into your coffers? Can you just tell me that path?
We go through a third-party billing company. They bill it out. They send out the information. The person that was speeding can send it in directly to the directly to us, or we can take it over the phone directly, and then we have to pay our bills out after that to the third party with their invoice that they send to us, and it was costly.
Can you relay how much of your budget that constitutes?
I don't know those numbers, no.
And was the machine vandalized, or is that just a?
It was vandalized, yes.
To the point of not working?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know the officers within the department will get severance pay. How will that be paid out?
Bitcoin? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know the details, but they will get a severance package, and they will most likely be signing a non-disclosure with us, and we'll pay them probably right then and there.
Why would there be a non-disclosure?
Just for liability reasons. We just want them to be taken care of, and we come up with a severance package for them.
What is the non-disclosure for?
Just liability coverage.
And Sheriff, probably in the weeds, but how will your posture change when Red Rocks is busy, either coming in or going out? Do you have contingency plans for that? I'm sure you do.
We do. We'll work with extra duty and have our deputies do that. We're hoping to sit down at the table with Denver to renegotiate our contract with them for Denver Mountain Parks. And so more to come on that, because this has given us the opportunity to go back to the drawing table with Denver when it comes to Red Rocks, especially Red Rocks.
So Denver actually covers the roads in Red Rocks?
No, they do not.
You cover them.
Morrison and Jefferson County. So we will be taking up what Morrison was doing. But we actually handle the crimes at Red Rocks. And so all felonies that happen at Red Rocks is handled by Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, even though it is a Denver Mountain Park. So we will be renegotiating those contracts as soon as possible with Denver.
Just your phrase, reset with Denver, has it been a tumultuous relationship
No.
up to this point?
No, not at all. Again, we collaborate with Denver constantly because of the fact that they have Denver Mountain Parks that are located in the middle of Jefferson County. So we work with Denver quite regularly.
Sheriff, it sounds like the extra responsibility that you guys are taking on isn't really that much extra. So can you just really speak to exactly what's going to be the impact on the sheriff's office?
Right now, we're not anticipating any impact. So we will wait and see. But at this point in time, and looking at the call loads, at looking at the types of calls, things like that, and then through the negotiations, we're not anticipating a whole lot of trouble with us taking that extra duty on.
So no overtime considerations at this point?
We're not anticipating any, no.
Has this been a conversation that predated this conversation we're having right now? Obviously, the announcement around 2 weeks ago, because it sounds like it might have been something the two organizations had already talked about, is just absorbing Morrison. If you guys kind of already seem to handle it in a sense.
Well, they've been covering for us for years, and it's an easy transition. So there really wasn't that much to work out, and they got great people that can work through all this, and it made it very easy. So it's not something that was very difficult to do. They already partnered with us, so it was easy to do.
How long is the contract for? Is there a
There's
time?
not an end date.
Yeah.
There's not an end date.
Not an end date.
It will be revisited yearly, but there is no end date to it.
Mayor, can you talk just to the citizens of Morrison and if they have concerns about their safety? It sounds like, they shouldn't, but maybe if you have a message for the people of Morrison and what can they anticipate will be different, if anything, and what's your message to them, now relying on a different agency?
Well, the primary subject is safety first. Have negotiated with them and talked with them, and they've been there already. So not much change. I feel that the residents there should feel confident knowing that Jefferson County is just a phone call away, and it could be seconds, it could be minutes, but it is something we don't know that exactly, but they should feel confident.
Well, I know 911 is but they're gonna call JeffCo Sheriff. Is there a certain, do you have that planned out yet? Like where they go, or?
Yeah, there is no change. Morrison uses JeffCom just like we do. And so all those calls will still come through JeffCom. They've always been on the same channel as us, so there's no change.
But if like a citizen wants to go to a department and make a report, where will they go?
They would come to the sheriff's office. They can go to our south precinct, they can come here to headquarters. If they want a nice drive up to the mountains, they can go to our mountain precinct. So they have options.
Where is that now?
It's right off Highway 74.
Oh, so by Epworth?
Yeah, right by the lake.
Just to be clear, you dispatch Morrison PD, Jefferson County Sheriff's Dispatch.
JeffCom 911 Authority. JeffCom Center. JeffCom, I don't know what the real name of JeffCom is. JeffCom.
That's
They
what we call
dispatch
it.
for everybody in Jefferson County. And so they've always dispatched for Morrison. They've always dispatched for us. Like I said, we're all on the same channel. And so nothing will change with the dispatch.
How are you feeling about this new agreement, new contract? How are you going to feel about it?
It's great. We feel confident, and we feel that they've been a great partner over the years, and it's just an old friend that we're just getting together again. This time for a longer period of time instead of just over the graveyard. So it's a great fit, and we feel like it's just going to be an easy transition.
Sheriff, a follow-up to the question earlier about how a number of smaller agencies are disbanding and being taken over by the counties. How does that improve law enforcement as a whole when those smaller departments do, decide that they don't need to be in operation anymore? Does it create, less competition when it comes to those qualifying officers? Talk a little bit about how, when everyone kind of works together, is there a benefit to that?
Yes, there's a benefit. We all work together. I mean, the mayor and I are in meetings together, so we've known each other way before this negotiation started. Competition, I'm assuming you meant by competing for hiring.
Yeah, when it comes to getting officers into your different departments, I know, like you said, there is a shortage and everybody's trying to
When it comes to people wanting to get into law enforcement, sometimes they want to get into the bigger agencies, sometimes they want the smaller agencies, sometimes it's their hometown. So there's different aspects as to why people apply to different agencies. I don't think we've ever really been challenged with the people that are hiring on with the town of Morrison. There's a big distinction between working for a city or a town and working for a sheriff's office, because we have a detention facility that your cities don't. We have a courthouse where your cities don't. We have a civil section which your towns and cities don't. So there are a lot of distinctions between different agencies and why people would apply. We will be doing everything in our power to get more people, which we would have done prior to this negotiation. That's just the beast that law enforcement is right now. We will never stop hiring because the attrition rate is to the point where we can't stop. We always have to. It takes approximately 18 months before we are able to have somebody in the application process get hired and trained. That's an 18-month process before that person is even ready to hit the street or do the job. And so we don't compete really with other agencies. I've never really thought of it as a competition. We have our standards, which may be different than other agency standards. But if people apply and meet our standards, we bring them on board.
Mayor, you said this is about a 50% saving for the town, right?
Mhm.
Does that change how Morrison will be able to operate?
I mean, it definitely helps. We will look at our budget, and it's, like I said, it's more than 50%, so we will see what we can do on allocating those funds. But we've been subsidizing it, so it's really, for the last couple of years. So it's $2 million in the hole kind of thing with that. So we're going to relook at the budget and make sure that we can allocate things properly.
Real quick, over in Georgetown and Clear Creek County, their negotiation or their agreement is for like the next 6 months, but they're circling back in February to have a conversation about what the future of the department looks like. Is Morrison Police 100% we're not coming back?
We have an open-ended contract. There is no deadline at the end of this contract. So Town of Morrison and Georgetown are two completely separate situations. Georgetown is asking for assistance. Morrison is disbanding their police department.
But I'm asking, is it ever going to come back? Is there that potential, or?
I mean, there's
I
always
think there's-
potential,
yeah.
but we just don't know the timing of anything like that. But that's too far in the future really to make an answer.
Final question.
I have just one last question to wrap up. Will we ever find out why the chief was put on administrative leave?
Good question. It's ongoing right now, and that's about all I can say, but the future will tell.
But we don't have any sort of plan to when if the investigation's wrapped up, or who to go to. Now that there's no police department, I wonder, just to keep coming to the town for answers about why he was let go.
Yeah, not at this time. We don't have anything. All right.
Thank
All right.
all of you guys
Yep.
for coming.
Thank you.